did she invite me over a month after the show to hang out?
Because we're all human. I was fucking that man. Like, we all do crazy shit. It's a breakup.
Is she really?
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
The Love is Blind reunion has arrived, and per usual, people got away with way too much. Like, right off the bat, I'm like, wait. Ashley and Tyler are rehearsing their speeches. Hannah is going on and on about the fact that Nick didn't like her, yet she would tell anyone with a pulse just how repulsive she found him. So the fact that he confided in his friends, that's a problem. And the Marissa of it all, girl, we were all rooting for you. Just so disappointing. The Tim, the Steven, the mess, the missed opportunities. There's just so much to get into. So let's do it, shall we? Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss Love is Blind, episode 13, The Reunion. For context, this reunion was taped a year after they did the process, so you would think that these people would arrive healed, with receipts, ready to, be forthcoming with the truth. But we got the complete opposite. We got people running from receipts. We got people still very hurt because they never resolved their issues. And of course, the Lachey's that are completely useless in facilitating a reunion. Somebody call Andy Cohen. But yeah, as I mentioned, this is being filmed a year after everything happened. And so it's really hard to gauge if feelings are still very fresh or if people are putting on a show, I really can't wait to hear your thoughts on this reunion because I thought that it was all over the place. I don't understand why they keep forcing, previous cast members into this one when there's so much material that could have been tapped in with the cast on stage. But I will say I was very happy to see Marshall in the audience because he has the best facial expressions. And I was also really happy to see Marissa's mom. So when the show started, they had like these different tableaus, and one of them was Marissa's mom with the scissors. But yeah, I just want to jump straight into the couples because we have a lot to cover. Before we do, as always, make sure to like and comment. It really does help me a lot. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. I make recaps and commentary videos on Love is Blind as well as the 90 Day Fiancé universe. So yeah, make sure to hit that. Let's start with Ashley and Tyler because you guys, this couple obviously has given us a lot to talk about on the internet with our friends. There's just so much mess that's happening, so much that was exposed outside of the show. From what I'm hearing, this reunion was taped before his baby mama and her ex-wife, came out and told their side of the story. So it's just very interesting. I think that at the time of this taping, though, the pictures had been leaked. So I think that, the internet had a narrative that is being proven to be true. But Ashley and Tyler, the minute they hop in, Ashley looks gorgeous, but she doesn't have her light. Ashley looks tense. Did you guys notice that? Her entire body language was just clenched and constantly making eye contact to be this is what we're saying. If when the Lachey's asked, about the drama surrounding the kids and the things that have come out, it just looked like they rehearsed an answer and he wanted to get it out as quickly as possible. He referred to the children as those kids, and he said that he wanted to protect them. My thing is, it's obvious that you were invested in their lives. You were very involved. You were living with them at one point. They're going to have to look at this one day, and they're going to hear that their father referred to them as sperm donations. And by the way, you guys, they stuck with this story on the show. Ashley was doing most of the talking in this part, and she was like, yeah, we had a conversation about it off camera and I thought it was important that we did it on camera. But she says that he told her everything, that it sounds like he overstepped in boundaries with his friend and her kids because he grew up in a single mom household and he didn't want that for her and that lines were blurred. And I'm like, Ashley, it's okay that you were fooled into believing this, but you're not gonna fool us. And I just felt really bad because I really like Ashley and I know that the hate that must be coming towards Tyler, but in turn to her, because that's the person that she's chosen. I understand that it's a lot, but up to this point, I hadn't seen anyone like say anything negative about her. If anything, I feel like the internet became really protective about her, but Ashley does not think so. And she says that she feels offended that people are questioning her intelligence. And I'm like, we weren't until now. She also said the comment that was released in the teaser, like, who knows more about my situation, me or the internet? And it's like, baby girl, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, that you are very much in the dark, and this guy is a serial liar. I love Jessie Wu's channel. I don't know if you guys are subscribed. If you aren't, you should. But she did have a video going over the contracts and going through like the background checks behind Tyler, and like there's just so much that he was hiding. And granted, I understand that there's like the sentiment that they don't owe us anything, but they also were on a reality show. And the reality show depicted certain things. Why not provide some clarification? If you guys are looking bad, if you think that you're being misunderstood, why not defend yourself? But there was a moment where he addressed the comment, aka the lie that he made on camera, saying that the kids didn't know him, but he then ended up telling Ashley the truth. And when he said that, I was like, wait, but you said you told her the truth before you guys had the reveal on camera. So it sounds like to me that you kept lying and then you regretted the lie because it's on camera and you were like, babe, sorry. Let me follow up on my story. If I were to be with someone like Tyler, I don't think that I'd ever know peace. And Ashley is so far gone, and I think that even if she wanted to leave him, I think that her pride won't let her, because she has this energy of like, it's us against the world. I saw an interview, I think it was like with ET or Extra, I forget who, afterwards, but they were asked like, how do you deal with the backlash? And she's like, we're blocking everyone. We don't want that outside noise affecting us. And I get that. But also, Ashley, the outside noise is coming up with some receipts and some truth that is for your protection, because this man, I don't think, is looking out for you in the way that you think. And I really think that like he kind of tainted the whole show and experiment, because she's raving about how happy they are and how this is like a once in a lifetime love, and like she's not willing to let go of it for like small things. I think what kills me is that this is such a cliche, you know. Many women have dealt with serial liars. Ashley's not going to be the first, she's not going to be the last. But it just reminds me of that saying, men don't have to lie to us, because when we like a man, we lie to ourselves. Ashley has created a reality, or enabled a reality with her man that she feels comfortable with. And there's nothing that we can say until she's done. So honestly, at this point, it's going to be what it's going to be. I wish her well. I wish her protection. Yeah. There was also a point where they were like, oh, I know you guys discussed holiday traditions. Like, what does that look like for you? And, you know, they started putting like a montage of videos and photos of their last year. And I was just like, oh, that's cute. Matching pajamas. You want to know who he also matched with? But that's petty of me to say. But like, she was just so defensive, and I felt bad for her, because she shouldn't have been placed in that kind of position, you know? But I'm also like, now we're at the point where I'm like, are you being complicit in him being a deadbeat dad? Because that's not good. A trash man will always ruin your life, will ruin your reputation, and this is just not a good look. But that's the end of Ashley and Tyler for now. Let's move on to Ramses and Marissa. So when it's time for their segment, they immediately pan to Marissa's mother, who's looking pissed. We have to rewatch the scene again of them breaking up. Marissa starts breaking down immediately because it's hard to relive it. Ramses is looking at the ground. It looks like he wants to dig a hole and just like disappear. He's like, you know, I came here to find the love of my life, and I thought that I had it for a moment, and it just, you know, it didn't work out. And the whole time he's talking, Marissa and her mom are like rolling their eyes. Keep that in mind. But this man is like, it's so difficult watching her fall apart. And I'm like, what did you expect, Ramses? Like, he said the same thing about his ex-wife's reaction to the divorce. I don't understand how someone that presents themselves to be so emotionally intelligent, so socially aware, is just not getting the impact that he has on people, and also just how heartbreak works. The Lachey's are like, hey, you said that you found your person. What made you all of a sudden be like, this is not it? And he mentions again the difference in their like energy. Like, this man literally broke up with her because of energy. That's BS to me. Like, you just don't like her, and that's okay. But be honest. He's like, yeah, you know, our energies are just so different, and I just don't know if I can handle that for the rest of my life. And while he's doing this, you can hear Marissa telling Hannah next to her, being like, oh, I think I hate him. And Marissa's mom, I have never been happier to see someone. I think that she came too strong in the initial meeting. But now I'm like, did she see something we didn't see? Because she's on to everyone on this set. And I mean everyone. But she tells us that she did have a talk with him after they broke up because she wanted to, like, you know, piece things together. But she's like, you know what? This is the best decision you could have ever made, because if my daughter would have stayed with you, she would have been carrying that relationship. And I was like, touche. Marissa shares her piece and she's like, listen, the whole experience just felt like a slap in the face, because he was reassuring her every day until right when he broke up with her. So that's why she was like, what's going on? And I saw in some magazine that like he was picking out the first song. Like, there was just so much that he was doing that was affirming her, to then be like, actually, everything is a lie. That's hard to recover from. I give her that. But she's also pissed because when he talks about it, it was very much like I, me. And she's like, why wasn't I allowed to like partake in this conversation? Like, you didn't give me an opportunity to change or grow or give my input. And totally, but I think that Ramses really wasn't here for marriage. I think that someone that wanted to be with you would have, you know? And the Lachey's are like affirming her, like, your energy is fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You'll find someone that matches. And I agree. I think that she does have wonderful energy. I think that that's an absurd reason to break up with someone after you say you love them, you know? But Marissa definitely has things to work on. I just don't think that that was it. Now, Hannah and Nick. You guys know that I have been on Hannah's neck all season because I hate a mean white girl that wants to play a victim. And that is precisely what she did in this tell-all. And what did I also call out in my previous videos? That as a society, we are so fat phobic that the minute someone loses weight, it's like we forget all of their wrongs. So Vanessa is trying to give this lady an opportunity to redeem herself, okay? She's like, so would you say, you know, that the way that you handle things with Nick, you know, was a bit direct? And direct is not the word. I think that that is putting makeup to the word abusive. This woman was abusive. Hannah is doing the thing where she's trying to make it like a quirk. She's like, yeah, I know sometimes I can be like so direct that it's bitchy and I need to chill sometimes. Like, I'm working on it. And Nick is still not dragging this lady on camera. He's like, you know, it's okay. Like, I wish you would have spoken to me differently, but like, you had your reasons. I've seen that people are like, oh, like he's being fake. I don't think he's being fake. I think that he has some decorum to talk shit behind her back to his friends, which is what we all do, right? We all rant, we all vent to our friends. I think that's a very normal thing to do. But according to the girls of Love is Blind, that's not something that men are allowed to do. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that. There's a moment where Garrett is like seated next to Nick and he's like, yeah, I mean, I don't think that I would have had as much patience as Nick did. Because yeah, that was a crazy thing to endure. Just in life, but also on camera. And I'm not naive to the fact that, again, he wanted to look good on camera. But I think it's also just like a character thing of like, I'm not gonna disrespect you even though you are out of line. Vanessa Lachey was working overtime to try to get Hannah to like apologize or like have a redemption arc. But Hannah instead doubled down and was just like not remorseful, very much like, I don't regret what I said. Maybe I could have said it better, but like I'm working on it. And like, I know that I'm not perfect, but like, I said what I said kind of vibe. And I just have a problem with that as well though. Like, yeah, your delivery was awful, more than awful. But also, the things that she was criticizing him on, I'm like, who do you think you are? Like, you're not better than anyone. Honestly, all of it was a problem, but everyone is focusing on the delivery. Yeah, Vanessa Lachey is like trying to get an apology out of her. I really think that they're doing that because they're gonna get this troll like on another show. I know they are. She'll probably be like on the next season of Perfect Match. But that's what it felt like. Like they wanted a redemption for her so bad and she just couldn't pick up on it. Hannah only ever says, I'm sorry, and it's so fast. It's when AD is laughing because AD is like, damn, like this girl is really doubling down, okay. And that's when Hannah's like, I'm sorry, Nick, for being so cruel. And like, that's it. It was like super insincere, super fast, like, let's move on. And Marissa and her were just like kikiing on the side of like, yeah, like it's whatever, like I don't want to argue about it kind of thing. But they were coaching each other. More on that. So when Vanessa realizes that this girl is not going to apologize, she immediately pivots to Hannah's transformation. And she's like, yeah, we noticed that there's like a transformation. Hannah's like, yeah, I've been working on myself a lot. And then like starts like crying and I'm like, oh my God, this bitch. And that's when Nick steps in and he's like, you know, Hannah's not a bad person. Like she's been getting a lot of heat on the internet. And Hannah's like, well, it just feels weird that you're saying this on TV when you were liking comments about me. And here's the thing. You should be lucky that he is still being kind to you on camera where it's going to live, you know, on this streaming service forever. That's one. Two, him liking comments. Petty? Yes. But she has been doing the same thing. I don't know if you guys peeped that the minute the show aired, Hannah started becoming an influencer, okay? Every day there is a video about Love is Blind. I don't even follow her, but the For You page algorithm is like, oh, Love is Blind, you like that? I get blasted with all of her videos. And she has made so many videos making fun of their situation, making fun of Nick. She had a whole skit boiling water. The things that she has done on the show and off the show are far worse. And so the little things that he does, while petty, will never compare. But this isn't new. Hannah likes to dish it, but she can't take it. And it's only going to expand. This is where she begins her whole victim arc. So apparently after they broke up, she started snooping through his things that I guess he left behind. And she found a note in like his diary entry. And it was like some like notes that he made of like manifestations before getting on the show. One of them being that he wants to be like the biggest star on Love is Blind. And she's trying to make this like, you see, like he was here for the wrong reasons. A few things on that. Nick wrote that before the show. On the show, he was invested in you. He presented you to his family. He met yours. He treated you with respect, something that you didn't do. You found this after y'all broke up. I don't see how this is a factor. That's one. Two, Nick being there for fame. Aren't you all there for fame? Because if it was all about just love, I'm pretty sure you could have signed up with a matchmaker. You could have just stayed on dating apps. You got on Love is Blind because it is a popular show. All of you. I don't care how they downplay it. They all try to downplay it, but you were all there because you wanted some sort of notoriety. And particularly Hannah, that's a big claim to make when, as I mentioned, she hasn't stopped being visible on interviews and social media. And also, Isn't this the girl that quit her job to be on the show? I just feel like she is not the one to speak on this. All of this, honestly, was just a clear attempt to deflect, shift blame to Nick because she was such a bad person. So then we get into the segment where she's like, oh, well, yeah, like I was mean to Nick. I said that I didn't like him, but he didn't like me either. So Marissa and Katie, the whole segment, are like chit-chatting with each other because they're upset that Nick keeps having good guy answers. And I really do think that they come from a good place. Like, I don't think he's trying to be a prick to you, period. But you keep wanting to like incite that kind of reaction. It's just very confusing because she's acting like he's the one that broke her heart, but instead it was her. Yet she's punishing him because she looked bad. But like no one made her act like that. Also, we need to call out this moment where Hannah is like, yeah, why did he let me be mean to him? Like, imagine. Like, that is some crazy abusive behavior. Like, can you imagine someone that's abusing you being like, but why are you letting me abuse you? Like, instead of asking themselves, why am I doing this? Why don't I stop? And the fact that no one checked her in that moment, I was fuming. So Hannah's going off at this point about the fact that she thinks Nick is calculated, that she heard from people in the pods afterwards that like he was saying all these things about her, that he wasn't attracted to her, and that like he's just not this nice guy. I feel like a few things could be true. I think Nick definitely told one person that he, wasn't attracted to her, or maybe that she wasn't his type. It sounds like he told Ramses and like Ramses spread it, or he told Steven and it was the other way around. Moral of the story, it was like a game of telephone. It was something that all of the guys knew, and then the guys pillow talked to the girls because Marissa, Alex, Monica, they're like, yeah, you called her a grenade. And he's like, no. I think he said something like he like was like shocked or something at the reveal, but he didn't call her a grenade. I think that a few things could be true. I think that he did find her cute. I don't think that she's his type. But I also think that Hannah crapped all over him to anyone that would listen, even to his face. So after being treated like crap, I'm pretty sure that like in one of those beach bonfire situations, he was like, yeah, honestly, she looks like a troll, she acts like a troll. And I'm not even mad at it because that's how awful she was, you know? I also just don't care to hear about this sob story of like, oh, I found out after the fact that he wasn't even attracted to me. But did he treat you like crap while you guys were together? But all of this, honestly, like, I don't care about it because he wasn't crappy to her ever. But I think she's upset that he did what she couldn't do, that even though he wasn't attracted to her, he was still respectful. I don't think that's acting. I think that that's just being respectful and just being a good person. Like, to not treat someone like they're beneath you because they're not someone that you usually go for. And that's what Hannah did. I just think it's so funny that Hannah's like, why didn't you disrespect me on camera like I did? Like, you're not any better. And it's like, no, actually, that's exactly what makes him better. Like, he had the sense to just say it to someone privately. I don't think that he was shit-talking you like you were. I mean, I am still shocked at the conversation that she had with Ashley, where she like went off about their intimacy after he specifically asked her not to do that. Like, she crossed so many lines at so many different times. It's just say sorry, mean it, and shut up. But this girl is her own worst enemy. But you guys, it became a moment where like everyone was like yelling at Nick, like telling him to like be honest, to come clean about him not being attracted to her. And like Ramses was like looking down, and you could see that Ramses like regretted ever telling Marissa anything because Marissa is like besties with Hannah and they're like tag teaming on Nick. And she's like, just say it. Just say it. Like, we're all human. Just say it. It was so disgusting. He said it to his friend privately. I don't think that he was like dragging her name through the mud like Hannah was. But yeah, they're all ganging up on him, and that's when he like came clean that like he said something of the sort, but he didn't call her a grenade. I feel like the truth is somewhere in there. But is Hannah a grenade? She would blow up at any little thing. I feel like that's a perfect description. But can we just talk about real quick about Marissa being like, yeah, like it's fine. Like we're all human. Like we're not perfect. She's my bestie, but she's not perfect. She's mean to me too. I'm like, Marissa, have some self-respect. This girl would not put herself on the line for you in the way that you're doing. Like, it's so crazy how quickly I dislike Marissa. Through all of this, she starts telling on herself because Nick is like, I don't understand, like, why you're coming at me with this hostility. Like, you and I saw each other a month after, like, we talked. I don't know where this is coming from. And, like, it sounds like they, like, hooked up or saw each other. And Marissa's like, so what? We're all human. I mean, I slept with this man still. And I was like, okay, we've lost the plot. You are all a hot mess. Like, they end up cutting the conversation because it's just like, we're not going anywhere. You could see Marissa's mom being like, you hooked up with who? They went by that so fast. There's also the moment with Katie. Katie, you know, the girl that Nick also talked to in the pods and, you know, is Hannah's best friend in the whole wide world, even though at the time they'd only known each other for like 3 weeks. Remember that? So Katie was really upset because she's like, I wasn't trying to do anything with Nick. Yeah, I said that he was cute, hot, whatever, but I was never like trying to push up on him. The conversation was super respectful, and I apologized to Hannah when I found out that she was upset. I gave her flowers, and apparently like it's been something that's been affecting her this whole time. So like when she finally saw it and she saw the way Hannah talked, it made her sick. And it sounds like Hannah probably like held it over her head all year. But Hannah's like trying to play it off on camera like she's a girl's girl, right? And she's like, no, like if anything, I don't trust him, but like we're fine. We're fine. And I love that Marissa's mom is like, yeah, she's your friend, but she made you feel like crap for a whole year. That's suspicious. Yeah. So that was crazy. And then to just wrap up the Hannah situation, they bring out Brittany and Leo. Mr. Rolex himself. And of course, you know, they get off some jokes about the fact that he can't stop talking about money. Brittany is just there. I feel like they don't really like talk to her much. The only thing that we get out of her is that she was comfortable with him at the reveal, that any discomfort that we saw was because of the cameras. So when we all like thought that she looked uncomfortable because of his kisses, she was like, actually, I wanted more of that so I could stop talking. So that's an interesting take. I don't think that I read it like that, so it was nice to hear from her. They just weren't compatible. I think that she got the ick from him. Apparently, he drinks from your glass even if you get the same thing as him, and like she just couldn't get with that. I think that that's a very like big family thing to do. I don't know if that would bother me enough to end like an engagement with someone. So that leads me to believe that she just wasn't feeling him, and that's okay, but that's a weird excuse. Apparently they're still best friends and they talk often. But yeah, I mean, Leo apologized to both of them. He apologized to Hannah, which I'm glad that he did because that breakup scene was rough. He apologized for his delivery, and he also apologized for like the gaslighty way that he was like, you know, trying to get her to be like, yeah, the breakup is mutual, even though she dumped him. And then he also apologized Brittany for like, you know, taking her through the emotional ringer. You guys, they brought out Jessica. You guys remember her? I think that was like season 1, season 2. She was like the big mean girl in that season. It's so funny looking back just how far the mean girls have gotten. And I'm like, wow, she looks like an angel next to Micah, next to a Hannah. It's just so interesting. I thought that that was clever that they brought her out, but she looked like she got her happily ever after. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, that it was just, she's like a saint in comparison to the mean girls that we've had since. So next up is Stephen and Monica. Stephen, Mr. 2% West Africa. This is the couple that I'm like, wait, I thought you were fine. I thought you were healed. I thought you had moved on. Why is it coming off like it just happened? So we do get a picture of him at the sleep study. He was apparently for real at a sleep study, but somehow drank and somehow sexted a whole other girl. So someone in the audience is like, oh my god, let us know what the text said. And Steven's like, yeah, it was juicy, but you know, I can't really talk too much because I want to protect the person. And Monica is pissed. She's like, oh, you want to protect the person but not your fiance? You shouldn't have done it on a reality TV show. And like, sure, but Monica, weren't you the same person that went to the Gatsby party and said that you guys talked for 2 hours and that you were fine? Steven also lets us know that they had a date and they talked after. So like, he thought that they were on good terms and therefore is confused by her hostility. You would think that this happened 2 minutes ago. He also adds that he apologized often and he even wrote a letter apologizing to her family, and he was just like explaining himself. This lady did not even let him finish because she's like, Steven, see, I knew that you would mention it. Why would you mention it? And he's like, because I'm explaining myself. Monica is so annoying because she don't like that man. But also, I feel like we all have our stories. You guys were both participants on the show. You should both be able to say your piece. She was so upset that he brought up that he wrote a letter to her family because she didn't want any kind of vindication for him. And the thing is, there is none. Cheating is bad, period, right? But she wants us to condemn him so bad, and she doesn't want there to be like any hope for grace for him. So like, she was pissed that he brought up the letter. But it's so confusing that she would have this reaction because she was the one in the pods that when he mentioned his previous cheating, she was like, oh, you're being too hard on yourself. And I love that Vanessa Lachey is like, well, you did have that reaction in the pods, and wouldn't you say that that was a red flag? And Monica backs down and says that it wasn't a red flag, that people cheat. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? If you are okay with cheating, why was this even a thing? Like, just wrap it up. What she says is that she felt safe with him and she felt blindsided by his betrayal. No one deserves to be cheated on. No one deserves to be deceived. No one deserves to be lied to. We could also say that people don't deserve to be cut off every time they speak for a little long. No one should be shamed that they can afford YSL. Just find people that match your fly. And I don't think they match each other's fly, even though she really wanted it to work for the TV show. Anyway, we're going to move on to Alex and Tim. This couple, they were one from the start that I called. I was like, they are very beautiful people from the outside. From the inside, they're rotten. And this play fighting situation is going to get ugly and tired really fast. That's exactly what happened. Alex does give context to what led to their first fight, which, by the way, we didn't see. She says that before she went into the pods, her dad had gone to like a facility, a rehab facility, and so it had been 3 weeks that she was without them. So when they were in Cabo, she like left early one night, and she just needed space to like process, right? Tim, on the other side, is like, she left early. I wanted to check in on my fiance. So I go to the room, see her. She's on the floor crying. I'm trying to be there for her, and she's not communicating with me. But it sounds like they both triggered each other, and then it got a little loud. But they didn't want the cameras to be in there. She says that she was actually trying to protect him because he was very, self-conscious about the fact that he's a big dude. It doesn't look good that he's like yelling, and he didn't want an edit of like the angry black man. And she knew that, and so she wanted to protect him. But in trying to protect him from the producers, she covered his mouth. So it was like a whole ordeal of like, I didn't assault him, that's not what happened. And he agrees that it wasn't assault, but he does say that she called him out of his name a few times, and he felt disrespected by many things. And I believe that she did. And she does admit that she called him a little B. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve that. You may feel that. But if you're trying to stay with the guy, I don't think that you should call him that. However, Tim is showing behavior. Because the whole time he's getting riled up and he's just like, you know, you women, you want to be respected and loved. And I was like, ooh, you're giving hotep. Women have to earn your respect? You don't just think that people deserve it? Oh, I see you, Tim. I see you. I'm not saying that Alex was easy, but I'm also saying that if there was a store like Build-A-Bear called Build-A-Wife, that is where Tim would go. Because I just don't foresee any modern woman falling into his criteria. And so Tim is getting upset because he's like, I hate that this is the moment that everyone wants to hear about. And Vanessa's like, well, you know, people want to know because they didn't get to see it. And the way she's talking about it, like production wasn't at fault for not recording. I'm like, ma'am, that was a miss on y'all's end. And it wasn't just with Tim and Alex. It was with so many different important scenes that we had to hear about afterwards. They also touch on the whole nap situation. Tim is convinced that Alex was out partying the day before she met his family and that she was being disrespectful. And he just felt like, you know, she didn't show up for his family in the way that he showed up for hers, so that's what made him call off the engagement. She denies that she was partying, and she says that she worked most of the day before, and then she had to work that night. So after she spent hours and hours with his family, she wanted to take a break before working at a bar, and that he had a huge problem with that. She also says that the same day that he had that beautiful moment with her dad, he told her that he had doubts. So she was very confused and taken aback because she's like, how are you going to have doubts after you did that performance? Like, why go through that? Honestly, their whole storyline is so confusing. I don't think that they communicate well. I don't like either of them because I feel like they're really hard-headed, really selfish. No one is perfect, but I'm really taken aback by people that get into relationships and don't want to bend, because so much of being in a relationship is like finding something that works for you both as a unit. And I feel like they were just so set in their ways that it's confusing to me why they would want to be on a show for marriage. But then again, they were probably on it, just like Hannah, just like Nick, just like everyone else, for clout. And it's so obvious that after these two broke up on the couch, they never had a conversation again. So you can see that, like, he was shaking. He was so angry. And she was, like, letting out a lot because I don't think that he gave her the space to talk. So it was just, like, heated between them. They were kept arguing back and forth to the point that they were cut off. I honestly would have preferred to see more of that conversation than all of this like old cast member stuff. I don't need to hear about AD's dating life. I don't need to see people's kids, people's weddings, unless they are part of this season. So like the fact that Alex and Tim got cut off, I was really upset by that. Because I just don't feel like we got to really get to the bottom of it on the show. So I was hoping that we would get to in the reunion, but of course, we did not. Another couple that I feel like we really didn't get much from is the golden couple, Garrett and Taylor. First of all, they were the best dressed. Taylor looks incredible. It is sickening. And it just baffles me that she looks like that and is also so freaking smart. And then, of course, Mr. Garrett with his makeover, everyone was like, everyone's buzzing on the internet because they think that this is Garrett Taylor's version. But apparently he's always wanted to explore fashion. And they've been traveling a lot all over Europe. So I can see the European influence in his style. But yeah, they look really happy, really in love. Her parents were there and they were just raving about them as a couple. It's really sweet. But their whole shtick throughout the show was like the fact that she wanted to move to San Diego and like, would that be a deciding factor? Like, would that make him say no at the altar? It was like a whole thing. You guys, they ended up living there for like a little bit, but then they ended up moving back to Fredericksburg or something like that, closer to home. So they're apparently going to be bi-coastal. They're going to split their time. That way they get enough time with their family and friends, which I think is brilliant. They're in careers where they make good money. They can afford to be bi-coastal and hot and young, and that's really it. They didn't really ask them any questions. I also thought it was interesting, just like their reactions to everyone arguing. Garrett was like disassociating throughout it. Taylor was just like, and so that was the end of this season. The last thing that they dropped is that we're going to get a new season of Love is Blind in February, and it's going to take place in Minneapolis. And they had like a few of the cast members there. And it's just so interesting them trying to like plug this like, we're a Love is Blind family. And it's like, I don't think this is a family. I think you guys are glorified co-workers, and that's perfectly fine. And I think that Vanessa Lachey and Nick Lachey really need to be replaced. I believe that they're producers on the show. I think that they're hurting the franchise more than they're helping. We need new blood. We need someone that like is fearless and asking the real questions. There's just so much is left to be unsaid. I wonder with this particular season, because so much has come out after the fact, even after they filmed the reunion, I would want an after the altar, because there's just way too many loose ends. Yeah, I would love to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments. What a trip. What a journey. Thank you guys so much for watching, and do subscribe so that you can keep up with my future videos, because we'll definitely be here talking about it in February again. See ya.